VeChain Price Prediction for May 2021.
Let's get into it.
So today, guys, we are going to be taking another cheeky look at VeChain, and we're specifically going to be looking at that VET coin price prediction for May 2021. May is just round the corner, and I think this is going to be a very interesting month for VeChain themselves. We're going to get into that fundamentals of the project. We're going to be talking a little bit around their partnerships and those real-world use cases that come with VeChain. We'll also be taking a look at the technical analysis as well. How has VET been performing most recently? And we'll be taking a look at the VET's price action on the daily chart, the 4-hourly chart, and the hourly chart as well. We'll be taking a look at those key technical indicators like the Fibonacci retracements and their extension levels. We'll be taking a look at those 50, 100, 200 moving averages along with the volume and of course that relative strength index. This together and combined should give us a pretty good and a rough idea as to where things are looking to go during the month of May. If you find this video useful and informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you happen to be new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with those new cryptocurrencies, hidden gems that we talk about here at Cheeky Crypto, then why not consider subscribing to the channel? By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here. And of course, it is free and you'll stay well informed. So why not? And Chris, anything else you would like to add at this point before we jump down to the desktop and really get into everything VeChain?
Yeah, I mean, VeChain seems to be getting all the attention. They absolutely smashed it today on 𝗕𝗘𝗀𝗰𝗍 YouTube channel. New levels set today. But with that said, joking aside, let us know in the comments below what your price prediction is for VeChain for May 2021. Really interested to know.
Fantastic. Right, let's get on into it.
Let's do it.
Right, so let's just start off with what VeChain's all around and about, and what makes this thing so interesting. So VeChain 4 is the blockchain, actually started out on Ethereum way back, and it was Ethereum that really helped drive VeChain. First of all, Sunny Lu really admired everything that was happening with Ethereum and built obviously VeChain first across on the Ethereum platform before outgrowing it and needing to scale much more efficiently. Since then, he set up VeChain 4 blockchain and running his own tech basically. And it's a dual token system. You have the VET token, which is what we're going to be talking about today in this particular video. And then they have the V4 token, which is the gas token for the blockchain. Now, they were primarily gearing up and really working towards supply chain management. That was kind of where things really kick-started. And obviously from there spun off into things like authentication, and then obviously getting involved with dabbling in things like entertainment industry, as well as those government contracts and now hospitality as well, and a whole host of additional functions as well. Now, their partnerships, Chris, are quite vast, aren't they? You have people like PwC, DNVGL, and those two are probably the most famous ones for VeChain. Both obviously massive global players, and ultimately they have huge client lists themselves. Now, when it comes to VeChain and blockchain tech, if PwC clients are want to adopt blockchain technology, they will most likely end up using VeChain, and the same can be said for DNVGL. Ultimately, if those clients want to use blockchain tech, they will more than likely be adopting the VeChain technology. So two massive players that cannot be overlooked. But of course, it doesn't stop there either. You do have people like Walmart China, Chris, who have done some absolutely astonishing rates of adoption and some speedy deployment, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, how quick they managed to get these partnerships over the line is just remarkable. I mean, the Walmart China one is a prime example of that, and I don't think it's the only one either, Nick. Their hardware and software really helps with that approach.
It really does. So some research for you guys, if you're not familiar, definitely check out the toolchain a VeChain toolchain. That's what it's called, if I can just get my words out. Check out the VeChain toolchain. That's what really helps the deployment aspect of it, and basically makes everything so much simpler to actually deploy. So definitely worth checking that one out if you're unfamiliar with VeChain toolchain. So yeah, absolutely. When it comes to deployment, basically, yeah, that toolchain is the key to a VeChain 4 blockchain. Of course, beyond Walmart China, there are a whole host of others, and not small partnerships either. We look at the partnership and things going on over in China with the government over there, hospitality, traceability over in Cyprus, Greece, China, all of that kind of stuff is fantastic. But beyond that, they also dabble a bit with the automotive industry, with people like BMW, Renault, and ultimately all around that traceability and authentication of the ultimately automotive industry. Think about how you would trace parts within the cars, and therefore basically eliminating theft and that third party after sales, where ultimately BMW is the world's most sought after car for theft, and has high crime rate associated with it, and it's the aftermarket, black market I should say, really, for those parts that really are problematic for BMW. And as a result, obviously having each part, each component inside the blockchain traceable makes it very difficult to actually therefore have third-party or black market BMW parts up for sale. So really crucial elements there, but obviously it goes beyond just that. Obviously think about mileage and that second-hand car sales, then actually everything is already traceable. No more fiddling with those speedometers or or how many miles has your car done, Chris? Because is it 100,000 or is it 20,000? Ultimately, a lot of that stuff will now actually be tracked inside the blockchain potentially. So automotive and industry and VeChain could go absolutely miles, no pun intended. Now, Chris, obviously beyond all of the fundamental stuff that's been going on in the background, there's also speculation around Coinbase. You want to kind of cover a little bit on that?
Yeah, so we know that they're in talks with Coinbase. As far as I'm aware, and I'm led to believe, it's just the not verification, but the what do you call it? The regulation side of things, just to be signed off. And I think once that's done, we're good to go. But not only that, we have seen a mysterious wallet appear with institutional level volume of VET in there. It did come from Binance, and you get all these smart Alex that seem to think that it's just a Binance additional wallet. But if that was the case, it would be named like the rest of them. And we saw this with Cardano and the pools of whales. I think there was about 6 or 7 and possibly 8 of them, with 32 million ADA in there. And we kind of felt that was a sign that Coinbase were going to be listing ADA, and we were bang on with that. And we know they're in conversations, we know it's close. It's just a case of getting all those regulations and verification bits all signed off, and then they're good to go. So yeah, I think that's going to be really good for the adoption of VeChain, because there's going to be a lot of people that are new to crypto. We know in the US that most people like to use Coinbase over there. I say most, an awful lot. I think it's their number one exchange over in the US. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting, great for adoption, and with that comes price discovery.
Absolutely. So let's actually talk a little bit on the price side of things. So here we have the VET coin. Okay, so VeChain VET coin has taken a bit of a dive recently. So lots of people have been fearful that the bull market is over and we're entering a bear market, Chris. Obviously, we don't subscribe to such a theory. Instead, we see this as blood being spilt, fear up for sale. And in fact, in a flash sale like this, actually you get some real bargains. And VeChain is definitely one of those. It has come down quite significantly from setting fresh all-time highs, but is still actually holding pretty solid ground as we look at the charts in a moment. So currently, at the point of recording this video, it is 17.1 cent. And that is significantly higher than when we first got into VeChain, because as an early adopter, you're able to pick up a very sizable bag at a very reasonable price. Obviously, since it has moved on, it is still looking incredibly affordable considering the magnitude of the project. So at these kind of rates, it's hard to pass up on this kind of bargain. Now, of course, it is $11.3 billion market cap, and there are 64.3 billion in circulating supply. Now, of course, that circulating supply worries some people. They think it's never going to potentially progress up into the higher ranks, given such a large circulation supply. The problem with that theory actually crumbles down when you start looking at VeChain for blockchain itself and how it actually works. You're incentivized as a VET holder to hodl those VET tokens. And simply by hodling them, you earn that V4 gas fee or gas token that's then used to pay the fees on the network. So all these large enterprises who are adopting the VeChain for blockchain, as per the rest of the things that we've been talking about here, they are basically being incentivized to hodl a large sum of VET coins in order to actually earn enough V4 to basically run their operations at cost, right? So that is a true genius of what VeChain is offering here. Ultimately, early adopters such as BMW, Renault, Walmart China, H&M, and all those hospitalities that you see, hospitality over in China that is basically adopting VeChain for their traceability and things like that. They're basically hodling the VET coin in order to earn the V4 required to actually operate the network. Now, that means that the circulation supply is actually going to be lower, which means there'll be fewer coins actually for sale. So as the demand increases, as in you onboard more businesses onto the blockchain, the supply will dwindle down, the demand will increase, and therefore the price of the VET coin will actually go up significantly. So there's a long-term play here, guys. We're not thinking short-term when it comes to VET. There is a long-term play. And then, think 10 years down the line, this is going to be a really interesting space. I believe the VET coin is going to be worth significantly higher. But Chris, let's get back onto the subject of this particular video, which of course is all around our price prediction for May of 2021. Now, if we jump down to the chart here, this is a VeChain or the VET coin to the USDT. The daily chart is where we are right now, and Binance is our data source. As briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video, we do have several key technical indicators on here. We have the Fibonacci retracement, and this runs from that low level on the 31st of March through to the high point on the 17th of April. We have obviously seen this come down to some of these pretty, nice corrective areas. And these are the standard ones, right? We always talk about these three areas here, the 618, the 50%, and the 382 area. Those are the three most common retracement areas. Now, there was the one wick down here that was the most alarming, but it didn't actually last that long at all. It almost brought us down to the 236, but actually failed to actually reach that line and came right the way back up again. So we're actually kind of resting around the 50% retracement at the moment. And during this, we can see that the 50 moving average is moving up nicely, along with the 100 and 200 here. The volumes have actually started to decrease, but there was a massive buy signal just here as we were plummeting down towards that 236 area. So since then, we have actually corrected from an overbought area to a not so overbought area. Okay, so currently at 52 on that relative strength index, which is a pretty good position to be in here from the daily chart. Now, like I said, if we pull that down into our 4-hourly, we can see exactly what was going on. As we were reaching down low towards our red area down here, that 236 zone, we were actually oversold. So it was a no-brainer that you're going to get the bounce from the 200 moving average that you can see here, and we're going to recover quite sharply, which is exactly what's happened. Now, in that particular move, we were able to utilize very little of that relative strength index, and that's testament to the volume actually decreasing whilst we were increasing our pricing. So we didn't do any real good strong price discovery, but ultimately we got to a pretty good spot here where we're actually now bouncing from our 37.41 line. This is a key area on our chart. This is the area that we usually come down to, and we get good bouncing from it, right? So this area here is absolutely key. We went down below it here in this freak Bitcoin correction, but actually we're now bouncing from our 37.41. So again, that's another real key thing to be watching out for. Now, if we pull this down into our hourly, we get the same kind of concept. This time we can see, of course, that there's candles here forming around that 50% retracement area, but also that we are below those averages, the 50, the 100 to 200 moving averages. Therefore, VET is actually below the average pricing of VET itself. And that's a meaningful thing. And that's meaningful because of a couple of other kind of technicals that we can see here. One is we got a relatively low RSI indicator, right? So at 44, and yet we are below average. So we're down nice and low on our relative strength index, and we're also very low on pricing, and it is below all of our average pricing. So that's a real key thing there. And obviously the volumes have also been coming down, and they've come down dramatically, right? So we have a low volume, low relative strength index, and we're below average. That means that ultimately our price of our VET coin is due to actually have a correction to the upside really, really soon. Now, what I do want to see is the RSI on the hourly chart here just decrease on that short term a little bit more, so that we can get a bounce from our 37.41 in the same way that we did over here. If we can get that bounce and everything else is lined up very nicely, and the sentiment in the market, which I think will be changing in the coming weeks, or will change, and we'll start seeing some pretty good price discovery here for VET. Now, what I'm going to do is pull this back up into our daily and talk about those price predictions and where we think this thing, where VeChain is likely to go during the month of May. Now, obviously, the Bitcoin correction was a little bit of a surprise. We didn't see that one coming, and we have actually had a pretty good correction. We were due a correction regardless, because ultimately we had a 17-day rally to the upside, and you were going to have a correction. So it was kind of a given that we were going to correct, and Bitcoin actually helped VeChain correct faster than maybe it would have done normally. So what we're going to do here is we're going to see that obviously we have had a correction for 7 days, but I think this is going to start getting a reversal, and we're going to start seeing some pretty interesting prices. Now, the first price target for VET, Chris, actually comes in at 40 cents, and that is what I'm targeting for the month of May. So previously, before this Bitcoin crash, Chris, we were at 28 cents. Okay, and we're pretty much approaching a corrective zone, and that would have potentially lasted a little bit longer. And had Bitcoin not corrected and we just had a standard correction, I would have said that actually a 40-cent VET coin, Chris, might not have been on the cards for May. But because the correction from Bitcoin actually forced all of these altcoins to correct much sooner, it actually means that everything's kind of ready to move back up again. And that's been a little bit faster than a natural kind of correction. So I can see us actually powering on through that 30-cent zone, which I would have said was on the cards otherwise, and going straight towards our 40-cent area here. So I'm thinking, Chris, that we're going to see a 40-cent, a VET coin during the month of May as the high point before getting another correction. That would represent about 127% gains from our current position, which will be pretty juicy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that's going to be very juicy, Nick. And I can see that happening. I really can. I really feel that, yeah, it's just an fortunate set of events. And I think the media and the people pushing the media, that own the media, that are probably buying the Bitcoin that people have been selling, I think, have really pushed a certain agenda, which has got us into kind of this position, really.
Excellent. And obviously it's at 40 cents that, I'm going to start really paying more attention. But I always said that 50 cents is my kind of target where I want to reassess the situation here with VeChain and see exactly what's been going on. And we are fast approaching that. So the second price target here for VeChain actually comes in a little bit north of that 50-cent area. And that one, Chris, actually comes in at a 60-cent VET coin. So, after 40 cents, we're talking about 60 cents here, and that's a 239% move from the current position. So pretty juicy yet again. And again, once we get to that 40, we'll see how the candles are forming, what kind of corrections are due. 50 cents is the area that I want to reassess everything within our technicals. But for now, we are looking at 40 as the first target, 60 cents as the second target. After that, we are talking about a 79.9 cent VET coin, Chris. That would be quite juicy, specifically for a lot of those early adopters. And then that's 351% away from the current position. After that, we are talking about 92 cents, and that's the 4.236 extension level here on the VeChain to USDT. Now, that's a 420% move and 92 cents. And again, these are really juicy targets, and then by no stretch of the imagination are the maximums that these things can go. It's just based on this tiny Fibonacci retracement from this particular area down here. And of course, we can reset this multiple times and reassess the situation, which I intend to do at around the 50-cent area. So very juicy. I'm thinking 40 cents for May as pretty good price target, I feel. A very sensible level here for VeChain and the VET coin. Of course, I'd love it to go beyond that, but that's where I'm kind of kind of visioning going after that first price target after this very sharp and quick correction to the downside that looks like it's coming to a bit of an end. So Chris, is there anything else that you would like to add and leave the guys with here on VeChain?
Only, if you're interested in VeChain and exit strategies, I'm pretty sure Nick and myself are going to do a members video on my exit strategy for VeChain. So if that's something you're interested in, go over to the channel. I think the prices for the membership start from $1.99.
Fantastic. Guys, if you found this video useful, informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you want to stay up to date with those new cryptocurrencies, hidden gems, then do consider subscribing to the channel. By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It is free, you'll stay well informed, so why not? And with all of this said and done, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.